Surely something like this has happened to you while playing. But despite the traumas it caused,
oh my god, whoa!
It still carries the impact of being a nostalgic game that you will sure play again, because why not? The video game industry today is quite broad, and it's very difficult to know in retrospect which is the best game. But make no mistake, Undertale is a masterpiece in the entire freaking history. Why? Are you deaf? Play the music! This game was developed more than 10 years ago and is still one of the highest rated games to these days. Now, I understand that maybe I'm exaggerating by calling it the best game when we all clearly know that it's Red Dead Redemption 2.
Does this probably go to Tahiti?
Game of the year goes to God of War.
Fuck! Screw you all! Although it's true that the graphics aren't great, I mean it's pixelated and its gameplay is also very basic, it reminds me of the mechanics of the old Pokemon games, but in my opinion it still feels quite innovative, and most importantly, the music. I can almost guarantee that this game surpasses the entire video game industry in this aspect. And yes, despite being an indie game, which in case you didn't know, is a video game created without a financial backing or resources of a major video game companies. That means, while Call of Duty is created by a millionaire wallet-sucking lazy company, an indie game are made with more love and care by a smaller team. We have examples like Hollow Knight, Cuphead, Limbo, and... no, you are not here anymore.
Is to press your loot tab icon, then look at the $250 cutscene.
Undertale was developed by Toby Fox, who practically worked alone on the project. From programming, design, soundtracks, he handled it all. He even launched a Kickstarter campaign with a goal of $5,000 and ended up raising over $50,000. Finally, in 2015, we received this true gem of a game, achieving massive success in the market. But what makes it so special? Well, I have categorized the key points of this game for you: history, characters, special programming, and music. The history is pretty simple. You're a boy or a girl, I have really no idea, who falls in the underground, a world ruled by monsters where throughout your journey you will search for a way to return your world. As you progress through the history, you will reach a critical point with this mannequin. Yes, this mannequin will decide if you became a serial killer who kills every living being in this world, or a peacemaker handing out hugs and kisses, or a completely ordinary person. Now, an important aspect in this world is that you are special. But yeah, literally, your souls contain something called determination. And you may ask, but hey, what does that do? A good question, my friend. This determination is what allows you to create save points and come back to life every time you die. It's an integrating reset system, but essential for the history because of the 3 paths I mentioned earlier. If you decide to start like a normal person, forgiving some monsters and killing others, you will unlock the neutral ending. Spoiler alert, after defeating Flowey, who gives you a few words that nobody cares about, you can move forward and return to your world. It's quite an open ending since no explicit image is shown of what happens afterwards. Now then, here's where the history gets interesting. Once you finish the game, it closes, and if you decide to reopen it, you will be given 2 options: to close it again or start a complete new game. Now, here is the important decision. If you first go for the pacifist ending, which by the way is a pain in the neck, you literally have to be the most patient person in the world and forgive every single monster you encounter. This makes it practically impossible not to run into one every 2 seconds in some areas of the map. Damn! Now, if after all your persistence you achieve your goal, you will unlock the pacifist ending, featuring one of the most epileptic fights you've ever seen, but ending with you happily living with all the monsters on the surface. Now, if after completing your pacifist ending you return to the game, you will meet Flowey again, who will beg you not to reset the world because, well, why will you? Everyone is happy where they are. Please don't reset, I'm happy, they are happy. Can you live with that? No. Well, once reset and having ruined the lives of all the monsters, you can go for the genocide ending. As the name suggests, you have to kill everyone, and it might sound easy if it weren't for the fact that you literally have killed every single one of them until you get the message, but nobody came. Well, this part is more tedious than hard. The really difficult part is that the main characters you know turn into Doomslayer, which are going to make you cry countless reset.
No, that's not the fight.
It's not quite the level of Dark Souls, but surely more than once you have gone to bed frustrated because you couldn't defeat them. And yes, I'm talking about Sam's fight. This skeleton, who basically has a stat of 1 of attack and 1 of defense, the weakest monster in the underground, can do things like this. And yes, while the music is awesome, it's not funny having to hear it in your 325,377 attempt. The fight is so hard that they are literally made a website where you can go to practice his movements. Well, after you finally manage to beat it and kill a few more monsters, the world becomes completely empty. Then we meet Chara, who, to keep it brief, was the first human to fall in the underground. Chara represents destructions and dark desires as the player, that in case that you don't remember, that's basically what you did. Here, she either kills you or you accept the deal with her to reset the world. If you played it again and once again achieved the pacifist ending because your hair couldn't bear it and you wanted to restore the things as they were, guess what? You can't! The game will give you the darkest ending possible, but why I'm mentioning all of this? Well, it's because the history gives you meaning and purpose, which is something most modern games lack. Today's game focuses more on a linear process, and the system of multiple endings based on your actions are nearly non-existent. Take for example Call of Duty, Halo, The Last of Us. These are well-developed games. Well, not all of them really, but you get my point. Right? These are linear histories, meaning you cannot change the ending no matter how hard you try, or at least not in a way as complex as in games like Fallout New Vegas, Dishonored, or Nier Automata. In Undertale, if you kill a damn mannequin, it has repercussions later. If you didn't eat a pie, it might help you later. If you help a couple of spiders, guess what? It might help you later, and that's where they come in. If there is something worth highlighting in video games, it's the characters. Just show me the cover of Red Dead Redemption 2 and you think of Arthur Morgan. If I've showed you Halo, you think of Master Chief or Cortana. I say Cortana. Oh yes, excuse me sir. The point is, in Undertale, if someone mentioned it, each of us will probably think on a different character. For example, many will think of Sans because of the Vietnam-like trauma, or Meradon for his suntrance and transformation. Hey, dance. But it's not just like that. It's more complicated because you feel like each character has a personality. And yes, well, it's not like Red Dead Redemption 2, where literally every NPC in the game has a life. In Undertale, that's not the case. It's more like each character has a bit of soul and wisdom. Let me give you some examples. Papyrus is something who, through the game, is trying to capture you to join to the royal world, but this character is completely silly, yet fun. Now, if you compared him to Undyne, this character initially gives you a sense of fear and a real intimidating danger. And you are in danger, whether it's the Doomslayer version from the genocide ending or not, this fight is challenging. But it's not just the main character like Toriel, the protective mother, Sans, the joke teller, or Flowey, the antagonist. There are also a huge number of secondary characters like sort of a spiritual guide, which if your goal was to finish the game as quickly as possible, you probably skip them. Just keep listening to music with Napsta block, just keep the histories on the bar characters have, and lastly, you probably didn't notice the endless amount of Easter eggs the game includes by just following the clues some characters give you. The experience you will have in this game with each interaction won't give you any progress or something significant toward your main goal, but it really feels like each character can be easily recognized once you finish playing. I mean, even this dog here is very memorable because it practically stretches its necks to the infinite. And speaking of interactions like that, I can tell you that, as I mentioned it through the entire video, Undertale has a famous breaking the fourth wall. And yes, while many other games like Doki Doki, Deadpool, and even Portal has this feature, Undertale does it in a way that feels more like corrupting your entire PC. If for some reason, like all of us, honestly, I don't blame you, you decide to go for the genocide route and don't want the disturbing image when you finish the pacifist ending, well, tough luck. Because even if you install the game, redownload it, and go for the pacifist ending right from the start, the game doesn't care at all. Another scenario, if you somehow decide to kill someone and then reset because you feel bad about it, guess what? These two jerks know it. Although this one jerk honestly couldn't care less. And while that's not the most surprising thing, we can talk about the combat system in the game. Every time you enter in a conflict, you have 4 options: fight, interact, items, and mercy. Not to brag, but unlike many other games with similar combat system, this one really makes you feel like you are the one that is fighting. Every weapon you equip will have a different way of attacking and different critical stats depending on how precise you are with this attack system. Also, every enemy has different attacks, and sometimes 2 of these jerks combine to try and kill you.
Dude, let's kill the horse.
And if all of that wasn't enough, there are unique interactions with objects, characters, and weapons. For example, if you say something nice to the mannequin at the beginning of the game, it will fly away, okay? And when you meet it later, it will remember you and won't attack you. Here is another one. If you get the pie that Toriel gives you at the beginning of the game and eat it in front of Asgore, he will lower its attacks and defense due to nostalgia. I could stay here all day, but I want to move on to the next point. If there is one very important point to highlight in video games, it's definitely the music. Take one example. You are sitting playing Halo 3 and you are in the last mission, escaping from all exploring planets, enemies attacking you, scarce of ammo, and Greek vehicle, and no music. This scene will be nothing without its music, and an important point in Undertale is how well it implements this. You're in a shop? Great! They play calming music. You're in a moment of pursuit and suspense? Awesome! This music adds up perfectly to the situation, and I want to touch a point. There are songs that are really good when you first hear them, but over the time repeat them again and again until you get tired of them and find a new favorite. Now, I think this has never happened to me with Undertale. Its music is so peaceful and deep, or even the kind of music that gives me a level of relaxation that not even the Luffy girl could give me that. There are many other examples like this one, the clearest being Minecraft soundtrack. It is calming and mythical, making your hours of entertainment reach another level. Because what will Minecraft be without hearing that weird noises while you're mining? Well, the same happens with Undertale, but unlike Minecraft, this guy was the mastermind behind each and every track, and this is an important aspect to highlight. Although there is no direct comparison between Undertale songs and those from other games like Nier Automata, where the game envelops you and takes you to another astral plane with its masterful score, Undertale's music is much more memorable and simple. In the end, that makes it more catchy. If I play this soundtrack for you, I'm sure you will immediately remember which part of the game it comes from. On the other hand, if I play another song from a different game, you will probably recognize the game, but not which specific part of the game it came from. So to conclude, remember that Undertale was created and developed by a single person. That's why we can see the difference between putting love into something because it truly excites you versus making it simply for the money behind it. And even though Undertale, far from being considered the pinnacle of video games, it's one that is memorable and enjoyable to play again and again, always discovering new things to do within the game. So a special thank to Toby for creating this great game.
素敵な夢を見たのそれは私の素敵な星様だ